welcome to this flow class focused on moving through discomfort. For today, I suggest that you have two props, either yoga blocks if you have them at home or something similar. Nalgene bottles work great, or strong, sturdy, thick water bottles that are around the same height. And whatever you use, bring them to the front of your mat. Note that you can try without props. I find I can do most of the poses without the props, but they're handy to have nearby just in case. All right, we'll shift our sit bones down to the floor. Guide our back onto the floor, and you can choose whether you'd rather have your feet rooted, knees dropping together as the feet come really wide, or you'd like your legs to be long. I think Shavasana. And then take your right hand onto the heart and your left hand over top, and close the eyes as you feel your whole body root down into the floor. And the reason that I wanted to offer this to you at this particular time is that voices are rising to speak up and out about something that has been in action for way too long. And that is the systemic hierarchy that is built around race. And as a person of white privilege, I feel like I can do better. And I feel like this opportunity is a chance for others, particularly people of color, to speak up and use their platforms. But I also wanted to use mine in a way that could perhaps invite you to reflect on a changing perspective. And this is our chance to not only acknowledge racism by treating people more kindly, but by also shifting perspectives on how we acknowledge it. And that starts at the roots, that starts at the systems. So for today, I really invite you to sit with sensations of discomfort rather than shy away from them, so that in turn you can try to take that discomfort off of your mat and be willing to shift your perspective, to take action to invoke change, to mute yourself, quiet down when needed so that others can speak up, rather than being defensive, rather than holding the tension. Can you breathe through it, sit through it, feel it, and maybe admit that it is something that you yourself need to work through. If your feet are lying long, walk the soles of the feet onto the floor. Bring the heels underneath the knees. Straighten through the left leg. Wrap your hands behind the hamstrings. Interlace the left fingers in front of the right. Send the left hip away, right hip up. And press the left heel up and towards the sky. Straighten through the leg. Press the thigh in towards the hands in towards the thigh. Maybe you feel a little bit of shakiness, and that's okay. Settle through the shoulders. Then point the toes. Exhale, bring the toes towards the face. And move here. And so, moving through discomfort does not necessarily mean invoking pain. So if at any point you feel pain, adjust yourself so that you can still feel the depth without injury. with the toes pointing towards the face. Kick the heel up even further. Send the thigh towards the hands towards the thighs. And keep the toes pointing as you exhale, bend through the knee. And sweep the left ankle across the right thigh as you release the hands. Finding figure four. You can stay with the right foot rooted and just press the left knee away. Or the right knee rises up towards the chest. Interlace the same clasp, left fingers in front of the right. Walk the left foot slightly more to the right so that you can circle through the ankle. Drop your arm out of the way so that you can find the full circumference. Stay even through the low back and soft through the shoulders. And then switch directions. And we're playing with our source of stability, our feet and our ankles today. Because in order to make change and move through this discomfort, we need to shake up the foundations of our society. And that in itself is uneasy. Come to neutral. Guide the right knee in towards the chest. Take the left hand, clasp onto the ankle, and see if you can just walk the ankle a little bit closer in towards the hip for today. If that feels like too much on the knee, then stay in the regular figure four. Reclasp. Plug the right sit bone down towards the bottom of your mat as you send the knee in towards the chest. Breathe through the left hip, the left outer thigh. Then release the left hand again. Clasp the outside of the left foot. Drop the right sole of the foot down to the floor. Release the right hand to the floor. Sweep the left foot so that the left heel stacks over the left knee. Drop the left knee outside of the left armpit, finding a half happy baby. Head stays neutral. Flats of the shoulder blades stay grounded to the floor. And your right knee points straight up towards the sky rather than dropping out. And spread the collarbones away. Open up through the chest. As you exhale, melt that knee down towards the floor. Steady breath. Use your breath as fuel. And then release the left foot all the way down to the floor. Point the right heel up towards the sky, interlace behind the hamstrings. This time, right fingers in front of the left fingers. Send the right hip down to the floor and towards the low edge of your mat as the left hip snugs up a little bit closer towards left shoulder. Press thigh in towards the hands, hands in towards the thighs, then point the toes. And flex the toes towards the face. Continue here. Noticing if one side feels different than the other. I'm trying not to judge or dismantle the differences. Recognizing in the differences. Becoming more aware of the differences. And trying to use your breath and use the intention of your mind to find an evenness, to find a balance. And then we'll point the toes, keep them towards the face, keep finding that counteraction of the hands and the thighs. Lift up through the heel. Feel the whole back line of the right leg. Keep rooting the back of the hip down and towards the floor. And bend through the knees. Sweep the right ankle over the thigh as you press the knee away. Option 1, stay here. Option 2, knee lifts. Interlace the hands, right fingers in front of the left. Rock through the low back to make sure that you're grounded and neutral. Keep pointing those toes towards the knees. Then walk the right foot slightly over to the left so that you have enough movement. You can adjust the hands down to circle through the ankle. 4 or 5 circles in one direction and then the other. Stay soft and open through the throat. Our outlet for speaking up and speaking out. We want it to remain accessible even as we feel uncomfortable. And switch directions. Come to neutral once you're even. Release the right hand. Sneak the right ankle down if it feels comfortable for you. And then return to the clasp. See if you can squeeze that left thigh any closer towards the belly and the chest. Keep plugging down through the sacrum, through the base of the spine. Send the tailbone away from the top of the head. See if you can tuck the chin in slightly. Find length through the back of the neck. Release the right hand. Take the right hand to the outside of the right foot. Drop left sole of the foot down to the floor. Left hand to the floor, finding half happy baby on this side. So right away, check in and make sure that that left knee isn't splaying up to the side and that your right heel is doing its best to stack over the right knee as the right knee dumps off towards the floor just outside of the right armpit. Head stays neutral. Both shoulder blades stay flat to the floor. And even through the shakiness, can you feel as though if you had a platter of maybe brownies, maybe carrot cake on top of that right foot, you could support it? Even as you feel an edge, you have the strength to keep holding, keep lifting up. And release the foot down to the floor. Straighten through both legs. Point the toes. Sweep the hands overhead. Reach the hands away from the toes. Take a full inhale, lengthen. Hold the breath at the top. See if you can sip in and hold any longer. Exhale. Sigh it out. Put the knees in towards the chest. And drop over to one side. Make your way up into tabletop position. Set your foundation with the wrist stacking underneath the shoulders, the knees underneath the hips. Toes tucked. Find a suction cup with the hand so you press down through the outer edges and the middle of the palm lifts. We inhale, drop the belly, open through the chest, and the sit bones towards the sky, finding cow. Exhale, tuck the chin around through the spine, look towards the belly. Cat. And take one more. Feel into your breath. Then adding on, find your cow and then shift your sit bones as you keep the chest lifted. So sit bones come back over the heel. As you exhale, curl into your cat. Send your weight over top of the wrist. Inhale to come back. Offering more space through the spinal column. More space between each of the vertebrae. Last one. Inhale, come to neutral. Send the left foot all the way back. Try your best to stay exactly as you are through the rest of the body. So that right hip stays stacking over top of the right knee. You maintain the suction cup at the hands. You can have a really slight bend to the elbows. Head stays long. On an exhale, drop the left heel towards the floor. Inhale, lift up onto the toes. Exhale, drop the heel back. Feel the stretch through your calf. Inhale up. Exhale, drop it back and hold. Keep pressing the ankle towards the floor. Notice how that intentional action offers depth and expands the space of your calves, big gastrocs and soleus muscles. And come back to neutral through the heel. Walk the left foot all the way over to the right and maybe even off of your mat. And we take our left fingers, walk them as far forward as you can and in line with the right shoulder. Maybe you drop the right forearm to the floor and take it to the edge of your mat. Keep pressing through the left toes, stay lifted on the right toes. Perhaps your fingertips can walk further to the right. Breathe through side body. Feel into the wobbles. As you breathe through discomfort, can you stay stable through the right leg? Invite expansion through the rib cage, particularly through the left side, but also not collapsing through the right. Let the head be really heavy. Send your hips up to the left. And press into your right forearm. Walk the left fingers back over to the left. Rise up. Keep your legs exactly in the same position and start to pivot through the toes and through the knee so that you walk your way over towards the back of the mat. Walk the left foot onto the mat if it's off. Recenter through the right knee. And then take your left foot all the way to the edge of the mat. Option 1, stay here in lizard pose with the front foot square. Option 2, point the toes 30 to 45 degrees out towards the left. And maybe you roll up onto the outer edge of the left foot. So it looks like this. And then really use your fingertips to help you find more length and openness through the chest. Steady the breath. We inhale here. As you exhale, pivot the left foot so that the toes rise up. And send your seat back as you straighten through the left leg. Fingertips Come along for the ride, so move them as you move with your body. Inhale, come forward. And exhale, sweep back. One more flow. Really drop that left knee out towards the left. Similar to that figure 4 sensation that we took in supine on our backs. And this time we stay in the lizard. Maybe bend through the elbows. See if you can open up that chest. Create more space through the heart center. Breathe through the left thigh, the left hip. Keep lengthening through the spine. Feel sturdy through the outer edge of the left foot, or the entire foot if the whole foot is grounded. And then we sweep ourselves back. Walk the left foot more in line with the hip. Shift your weight over the sit bones, or the sit bones over the right heel. Keep the right toes tucked, maybe even reach back for that pinky toe. And your fingers can stay grounded to the floor, or you may want to use blocks to support you here. Dig in through the left heel, send the left hip back. Feel a scissor action through the inner thighs. Keep lengthening through the spine as best you can. Keep pointing the left toes directly over the heel, and you should feel a lot of depth through your right foot as well. Then we walk our fingers forward, come into a low lunge. Inhale, lift up off of the right knee. Exhale, step forward, forward fold. Inhale, hands to shins, send sit bones away from the head, halfway lift. Exhale, bend the knees a lot, all the way down to the sit bones. Inhale, sweep the arms wide, rise up to stand. Exhale, hands through heart. Take the hands onto the hips. Lift up through all 5 toes on the right foot. Root down through big toe mound, pinky toe mound, and heel. And soften the toes down. Make sure you're not gripping them into the floor. Shift your weight into your right hip, into your whole right leg. Keep the shoulders stacking back. And option 1, we find a variation of tree. So you can take the left heel onto the right shin as you point the toes out and onto the floor. You can walk up slightly, come all the way up. Keep sending that knee back as you drive the left hip forward. Or we come into a standing pigeon. So take the heel up onto the thigh as you point the toes down. With the hands grasping onto the hips, send the left hip forward, right hip back. Find your foundation through the right foot as you feel into any wobbles or imbalances, any discomfort through the pelvis. See if you can recalibrate that foundation to support you through the changes in your body. Maybe you bend into the right knee, start to sink down, really feel through the left glutes. Surrendering your body towards the floor, at the same time lifting up through the top of your head, keeping your chest really open, keep sending the shoulders back. When we inhale to straighten through the legs, release the foot down. Bring the big toes together. You can choose whether you'd rather have the hands on the hips or the hands on the heart, or we take the hands straight out, palms face down, lift up onto the toes. So heels come really high. And exhale, heels come down. Inhale, we lift. Exhale to lower. Inhale, we lift and we stay tall. See if we can lift up any higher. As we exhale, squeeze the inner thighs together as though we were squeezing a $100 bill between the thighs and you don't want to let them go. And start to make your way down to the floor. Come as deep as you can. Remember, moving into discomfort and not into pain. We're taking action without violence to ourselves. Woo. Exhale, hands towards the floor. Shift up into forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release the hands down to the floor. Step right knee down, left knee down. Inhale, drop the belly, open through the chest. Exhale into your cat, round through the spine. Inhale to neutral. Sweep the right leg back. Tuck through the toes. Stabilize through the arms and through the left leg. Then we find those pulses with the right heel. Exhale down. Inhale up. Try to make the movement solely through the ankle. Don't move too much through the right hip. Stay grounded through the left leg. We stay. Feel into the calves. Breathe into the calves. Maybe find a subtle bend of the elbows as the head keeps sending itself forward. And lots of length through the back of the neck. And we inhale up to neutral through the foot. And we hop the right foot over to the left. And then the right fingers sweep ahead in line with the left shoulder, left knee. Maybe we drop that left forearm down to the floor. If you feel like you can move deeper, let the right fingertips walk off of your mat and over to the left, but keep walking them forward as well. Keep lifting through the right toes. Feel that space between the ribs and the arm. Like you're stretching and spreading through the armpit. At the same time, keep sending the hips out to the right. Keep lifting up through the left hip. Breathe. Let the head be heavy. Give in to the discomfort. Try not to ease out, but sit with it. Use the left forearm to stabilize as the right fingers walk up underneath the shoulders. You rise up onto your left hand and circle the body back towards the front of your mat. Bend into the right foot or right knee. Walk your left knee out towards the left. Find a really wide stance through the legs. So your training track here is more at a shoulder height or wide, or shoulder width or wider. Tent up onto your fingers. Option one, we keep that foot grounded, or we pivot the toes towards the side and then drop out onto the outer edge of the right foot. Coming into our lizard. Send the shoulder blades towards one another at midline of the back and open up through the heart space. As you absorb the depth of the hips, can you still cultivate an openness in the heart. More room for compassion, so that you can step away from yourself into the realm of empathy, where you consider how your action or inaction impacts others. How your desire for comfort can cause discomfort to others. And we feel into the flow, straighten through the right leg, walk the hands back as the toes come up. Inhale forward. So when I do this flow, I like to keep my foot wide as I come back, but you can always play and adjust. Don't worry too much about doing it right. As long as you're doing something. That's step one. When we stay back in the lizard, lift up through left hip as you drop the right hip forward and down. As you lift up through the left hip, you also drive it forward. Find the foundation through the outer edge of that right foot. Keep pressing the knee away. Rise up. Sneak your right foot closer to midline as you send the sit bones back to step over the left heel. Use your hand to tuck through left pinky toe if you need to. Stay really stable through that left foot, even as you feel into the stretch. Point the right toes up as you drive the heel forward. At the same time, pivot your right sit bone closer in towards the left thigh. Find that scissor sensation through the legs. Maintaining length through the spine as best you can, remembering you can use blocks to support underneath the hands if the floor feels really far away. Notice if you're holding your breath. Keep breathing. Stay soft through the throat. And we bend into the front leg. Lift up the left knee, step forward, forward fold. Inhale, hands to shins, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, release the sit bones all the way down towards the heels, bend the knees a lot, sweep the arms, inhale to rise. Exhale, hands come through, heart center, and steady onto the hips. This time we lift all 5 toes on the left foot. Find our 3 corners. Big toe mound, pinky toe mound, heel. Release the toes to the floor. Avoid the gripping. Once your foundation is set, you go exploring. So you can take any variation of tree or move into standing pigeon. For coming into pigeon, point the toes down towards the floor. And press the knee in the opposite direction as the hip. So the right hip keeps coming forward, left hip shifts back. Stay open through the heart. Keep lifting through the sternum, the middle of the chest. Maybe if you explored it or you want to explore it on this side, you bend into the left knee. Find your left thumb right below your crest of the hip, so that big rim, and feel into your glute med, which is the big muscle there. It's the number 1 stabilizer of the pelvis. It's often quite weak. See if you can activate it. So press that muscle into the thumb. The better that we set our foundation, the easier it is to change. So when our foundations aren't working, it's really important that we take the time to reframe, to make adjustments. Inhale tall, let the foot drop. You can take the same variation of the squat that we did on the opposite side, or this time, point the toes to turn out. And steady the hands onto the hips. Maybe you can take your hands onto the heart. As you exhale, bend into the knees. So the knees come wide in the same direction as the toes. You lift up onto your toes, press the heels together, lower into a wide squat. So do your best to keep pressing the heels together. They may come a little bit apart. Keep lifting up through the chest. Feel into the calves. Lift up through the top of your head. And we exhale, the hands come down. Shift the sit bones up towards the sky, finding a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, melt the hands down towards the floor. Walk your hands towards the right. Straighten through the left leg as you bend in towards the right knee. Send the hips towards the left. And walk your hands towards the left, bend into the left knee, straighten through the right leg. Send the hips towards the right. Inhale, arriving at neutral. Exhale, bend the knees, forward fold. Inhale, hands to shins, halfway lift. Exhale, hands release down to the floor. Left foot sweeps back, finding a high lunge. Stabilize through the right leg. So you want your feet in line with the hips. And that right knee presses out towards right pinky toe. But stay rooted through right big toe mound. Squeeze the inner thighs towards one another. Set the foundation through the front leg. Try to keep your upper body and right leg exactly as is. As you exhale, press the left heel down towards the floor. Feel the stretch through the front line of your hip and through the calves. Inhale up to center. And exhale back. Inhale to center. Exhale, hold. Keep dropping that hip down. Send the head forward and away from the heel. Then lift up onto the toes. Straighten through the front leg. You may want your blocks. You may not. You'll hop the left foot over to the right. Then sweep your left arm forward. So I like to use the blocks just because I find it gives me a little bit more space. However, the floor is accessible. You can go there. Maybe you walk the hands a little more out or the left hand a little further to the right. Send the hips out to the left. Squeeze the inner thighs together. Keep rooting through that right big toe mound, lifting up off of the left heel. Remember, there's different heights of your blocks, different heights of your Nalgene bottles, whatever you're using. So adjust as needed. Make the adjustments to set the foundation properly, rather than just going with what is. Because if we continue with the way things are, notice change. You'll never notice progression. And then hands, you can take your blocks if you found the blocks handy, and walk yourself over to the left until you come into a wide-legged fold. Take your blocks all the way to the back of your mat so that they're there for later. Point the toes slightly in. Make sure that your heels are in line with one another. Then we tent up onto our fingers. As you exhale, bend into the right knee, straighten through the left leg. Send the sit bones back. Inhale up to center. Lift the sit bones up towards the sky. Exhale, bend into the left knee. Keep rooting through outer edge of the right foot. Inhale to center. Take one more each side. Lift up. Bend into the left knee. Walk the hands to frame the left foot. As we lift up onto the right toes, turn our left foot to face the back of the room. Walk the left foot all the way up to the side, coming into a dragon, which is a high variation of a lizard. So if you need to, you can drop that back knee down. Then you can choose whether to keep the left foot grounded or turn the toes to face out towards the side and press up onto the outer edge of the left foot. Keep opening through the chest. Drop the knee down. Lift up through the right hip as you send the left hip down and forward. Send the right hip forward. Keep lifting up onto the right toes. Keep spreading the collarbones away. Feel into your breath. And then we turn our left foot so that it's grounded to the floor. And walk your hands towards the right foot as you swivel up onto your right toes. The knee points forward. And you come into a half squat with the left leg long. So try to point the left toes right above the heel and try to drive your right heel down into the floor as best you can. Maybe the hands sweep forward, maybe you stay high. If you need to stay on those toes, that's okay. Just find your balance, find your edge. And if you can fold into it, let the head go. Breathe into any discomfort here. Find a long line from the base of your spine to the top of your head. Feel the stretch through your right ankle and through the whole back line of the left leg. And then lift back up onto the fingers. Walk the fingers forward as you bend into the left knee, coming into a lunge. So adjust your feet as needed so that the width is hip width apart. Lift up onto your right toes. Send the back of the right knee up towards the sky. Then drop the heel down on an exhale. Stay bent through the left knee. Keep sending the left knee out towards the left pinky toe. Inhale, rise up on the heel. Exhale, drop down. Take one more. Then hold at the bottom, pressing the heel away. And I like to use my inner upper arm on my left to press into the knee as the knee presses into it. Squeeze the inner thighs towards one another. Keep dropping that heel away. Feel the stretch through the calf on the right side. Then we lift up onto the toes, straighten through the left leg. Find your blocks if you found them helpful. You can also just go without. Hop the right foot over to the left edge of the mat. And then Walk the right hand as far forward as you can and draw it towards the left. Squeeze the inner thighs. Find that scissor action with the legs. Stay grounded through the left big toe mat. Keep drawing that left hip back and towards the right. Sending right hip forward and towards the left. Breathe through your ribs, let the head go. Unwind through the arms. And swivel your way into a wide-legged fold. Take your blocks towards the front of your mat. Drop them there. Turn the toes in. And then lean to the left. Bend into the knee. And lean to the right as you straighten the left leg. One more each side. We press down through the outer edge of the left foot as you bend into the right. And we turn ourselves to frame the right foot. Lift up onto the left toes, finding our lunge. We walk our right foot up to the right edge of the mat. Coming into dragon, option 1, stay grounded through the foot. Option 2, turn that foot out to the side, lift up onto the outer edge. So you drop the right knee back and away. Send left hip up, right hip down, draw both hips forward. Feel the opening through the chest. Keep your breath steady. We hold a lot of emotions in the hip. Excitement, anger, sadness, frustration. Try not to avoid it, but breathe through it. Feel into it. Let your emotions show. Remember that there are others who have been forced to conceal these emotions. And drop down through the right foot. Start to straighten through the right leg as you turn the left foot out towards the left and you guide your fingers towards the left foot. And adjust yourself as needed to come into the wide-legged squat on this side. So you may need to walk your right heel slightly forward so that it's in line with either the left heel or the middle arc of the left foot. Try to drive that left heel down towards the floor as you keep pointing those right toes straight above the right heel. Maybe you find your fold. If you do, let the head be heavy. Keep creating length through the side body by pressing the fingertips and the sit bones away from one another. Feel the depth through the left calf and through the back line of the right leg. Are you choosing comfort or are you choosing change? Walk up onto your fingertips, then back into the front leg. Lift up through the left knee, step forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release down. Take your left hand to the middle of the mat. Then through left knee, straighten through right leg. Inhale, sweep the right arm up to sky, finding the twist. Exhale, release right hand down, bend through right knee, straighten left leg, left hand sweeps up to sky. Exhale, release the hand down. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, bend the knees a lot, sweep the arms wide, rise up to stand. Exhale, hands through the heart. So I will demo your options before you move into them, just so that you know where you're going as you hold through the balances. Option 1, find whatever variation of tree or standing pigeon is calling you today. Maybe you play with that deep bend of standing pigeon and hang out here. And then once you're done with that, you can play with whichever variation of the squat worked for you. Or option 2 is we play together, combining the two so that we find a standing pigeon up on our toes and down in a squat. So I'll show you what that looks like. We root down through the right foot, find those 3 edges. We take our right hand, snug the left heel a little bit closer up towards the hip. Make sure that doesn't cause any pain to the knee. And then hands can come up onto the hips or at heart center. We bend through the knee until our hips are about in line with the shins. And we begin to fold forward, staying long through the spine, open through the chest. Elbows can compress. Maybe this is where you play today. Or hands come down to your blocks, straighten through the front leg, and you fold. So this is the fold. Maybe this is where you go. Otherwise, you start to look forward, open through the chest, bend through the right knee, bring your elbows really wide as you tuck up onto the right toes, and lower your way down into a squat. Keep pointing the left toes towards the left knee. Maybe you take one block underneath the left thigh, other block underneath the right knee, and you use those supports to find length through the spine and hands to the heart. So this is a good way to feel into it while steadying your foundation. Maybe you set the blocks aside and you bring your fingertips down towards the floor. Maybe you play with one hand to the heart or both hands to the heart. I'll try. I'm probably going to wobble off of it today. There we go. And stay there for as long as you'd like. And then we'll all meet in a forward fold. All right? So I will walk you through it again. You know your options. Just really feel into your body and trust what is calling you. So if you're coming with me, we find our ankle to clasp over the thigh, point the toes down. Really root down through that right foot. Make sure you have that foundation established. And I like to sneak my heel a little bit higher. I find it gives me more stability when I'm in that deep, deep variation at the bottom. Hands can come to the heart or onto the hips. You really want to feel that glute med that we talked about earlier be really strong and stable. Maybe this is your depth you play with. The hands are on the hips. It looks like this with the elbows really wide. Or the hands are at heart center and the elbows press into foot and knee. Maybe you come into the full, let the hands release down onto blocks. As you straighten through the left leg or right leg, let the head be really heavy. Otherwise, if you're coming with me, lift up through the head, find a really long line, so you're halfway lifting. And start to bend into the knee. And come up onto your tiptoes. Notice how wide my elbows are so that my leg can sneak through and I lower down. So if you're feeling quite wobbly, you can add a block underneath the right knee and underneath the left thigh. Press the hands into the chest, lift yourself up. Keep pointing those left toes towards the knee. And notice how a solid foundation can help you grow, help you find that depth. Option 2, we stabilize by bringing our blocks wide, or maybe our fingertips down to the floor. And then maybe you play with one hand to the heart. Maybe both hands come up to the heart. And stay here. Keep feeling through that right foot. Eventually we'll all meet in a forward fold. Rock the hands to the right and to the left. Maybe the hands come about an inch off the floor and we just float our body. Feel the energy through the legs, through the hips, and through the heart. And press down through the feet, bend into the knees. Sweep your way up to stand. Exhale, hands to the heart. Reset your blocks so that you have them in a good place to support you as we come to the other side. Remember that you have options. So we take the ankle with the toes point down. We come into whatever variation of tree, or if you're moving with me, you find standing pigeon. You take the ankle up a little bit higher if you can. Keep pressing right hip forward as you send the knee back. And we start to bend in through the left leg. Keep pointing the toes. Notice right away if this side feels different. We tend to have a dominant and non-dominant side. Maybe we move into the first variation where we balance in the squat, or the hands can release down. We straighten through the leg, feel into the fold. When we come back up into a halfway lift, and then send the weight in towards the left foot, all the way towards the toes. Sweep the elbows wide. Rise up onto your toes as you lower down. Make the movement be steady. Set your foundation. You can use the blocks. Feel into this side. Notice that I'm staying really tall and really proud through the chest. Notice how important it is to feel that space through the chest and feel that openness through the throat in order to receive completely. Perhaps you set the blocks aside and play on your fingertips, or play with bringing one hand to the heart or both hands to the heart. And take your time. Eventually, we'll all meet with our feet on the floor. Drop the knees really wide, come up onto your toes. Bring the heels together. And reach the arms forward into a fold. So if this does not feel good for you, you can always take a wide-legged child's pose, or just come into a supported squat where you have a block underneath the sit bones. We allow our breath to slow. We allow the vibrations in the body to settle, to steady. And we notice that in moving through discomfort, we can find more centeredness, more neutrality, stronger base as we slow down. Let your fingertips walk you back so that you're resting on your seat. Straighten through, straighten through the right leg. And take the left knee in towards the chest. Press the chest in towards the knee. Inhale, tall. As you exhale, sweep the left fingertips behind you. Stay long through the spine. Take the inner elbow, the right arm, around the knee. And come into your twist. Inhale for length. Root down through both sit bones. Rise up through top of head. Exhale. Turn your left shoulder towards the back. Imagine as though you're pressing the flats of your shoulder blades into a wall. Maybe the gaze looks over the left shoulder. Keep pressing through your right heel, grounding the whole back line of the right leg into the floor. Point those toes up. And inhale, gaze turns over the right foot. Exhale, we unwind through the arms. Take your right fingertips wide. Take your left hand to the outside edge of the left foot on the inside of the thigh. So finding half happy baby in a seated variation. Settle through the left sit bones. Guide your left knee in towards the armpit as you press the sole of the foot forward. Keep lifting up through the spine, opening through the heart center. And take your right hand to clasp around the foot. Straighten out the leg as much as you can. As you exhale, start to lean forward through the hips. So hinge through the hips rather than rounding through the spine. Press the left heel towards the outside of the right heel until your leg crosses over. Release the head, release the hands. Sweep the hands back alongside you. Left leg comes straight, right knee comes up. And start with the grounding. Root through the sit bones, root through the foot, lift the chest up. Then the right fingertips walk back. The left arm wraps around. We inhale for length and exhale into the twist. Keep plugging down through the left leg and the left heel. Turn left toes to face up. Maybe gaze looks over the right shoulder. Maintain that space through the throat, that you don't feel constricted, that you can use your words as you need to. And remembering that just because you can use your words, sometimes it's better not to speak if someone else has something more important to say. Inhale, look towards the left foot. Release the left hand down. Take the right arm to the inside of the right thigh. Clasp onto the outside of the foot. Find happy baby variation on this side. Keep lifting up through the spine, rooting down through both sit bones. Send that right knee outside of the armpit and back as you send the foot forward. And play with that tug of war sensation through the foot and the knee. You need action through both sides. Intentional presence and awareness. And straighten through the leg as you sweep the left arm or hand to meet it. And start to fold forward. Keep pressing through the heel. Drop the heel to the outside of the left foot. Let the head go. Let the hands go. And sweep the hands behind you. Uncross through the legs. Making your way into Shavasana. The feet really wide, the palms reach up. Root down through the heels, point the toes up towards the sky. Ground down through the flats of your shoulder blades, so maybe press in through the head so you can walk them underneath your body. Ground down through the base of the spine. Know that you're practicing at home, so if there are any other movements that you need to take to make the most of this resting period, do so now. Just press pause and I'll be here waiting when you press play again. You can close the eyes. Feel the whole back surrender down into the foundation of your mat, the floor. Feel the openness through your heart center and through your hips. Recognizing this balance of action and inaction. Knowing when to propel change. Knowing when to move through discomfort in order to invoke positive shift. Facing your own discomfort to allow others more comfort. Diversity is not simply being friendly with people of other race, it's helping to shift the foundations of the systems that govern our societies. Notice how little shifts in the foundation of your feet can have such a strong impact on the depth of your practice. How can you generate that same change in your daily lives? If you are a person of privilege, this may not feel easy, but you have very little right to feel guilt or shame in yourself. This isn't about you. This is about those who have not had a voice. And so as we move into this stillness, I invite you to use this silence to think of them. Maybe you offer more silence, whether through your social media or your tendency to watch the same things, read the same things. You silence those so that you can bring in more knowledge from those who deserve the platforms right now. That you can hear from the right people, hear from the source. I feel like the best way for you to use your own voice right now is to share the information of others rather than reflecting on your own perspectives. the sense of discomfort. So that you can find more empathy and more drive or pull to shift. Notice if you're currently propelled by comfort or propelled by change. Which one do you prioritize? Without judging or feeling any guilt and shame. Take movements, set intentions off of your mat so that you can wander in the right direction. You can help reset the framework. Stay here for as long as you'd like. We'll inhale together, grounding ourselves onto this mat and thanking ourselves for showing up, breathing through. Exhale, set that intention of moving through discomfort in order to invoke change. From my heart to yours, I see you, I hear you, you are noticed. These videos are made through love and hard work. Your contributions allow me to keep sharing new content with you. If you're able to give back financially, please click the Make a Donation button on the homepage of this channel. You're also welcome to subscribe to stay up to date on the latest video offerings. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Don't be Kona!